Hi, I'm Paul Ballew, and I'd like to welcome you to our second monthly update on the U.S. economy. As we mentioned last month, we are tracking the U.S. economy through three lenses, leveraging our proprietary capabilities. First, our health around small businesses and our tracking of our leading indicators with regard to the small business side of the U.S. economy. Secondly, our assessment of payroll employment growth and whether or not we're seeing things expand from a labor market perspective. And then last, but certainly not least, our overall assessment of U.S. business health from a financial perspective. Is the balance sheet improving, and are we seeing businesses continue to become leaner and meaner? So as we look at this month's results, a little bit of a mixed story out there, and we have to pay some attention to some elements that force us to go beyond the headlines and look at the story behind the story. So as we look at small business health, it declined a bit further in February, building upon the downward momentum we saw in January. And in fact, the index at a reading of 94 would cause us some trouble usually. However, when we pull back the covers and we look at the story behind the story, it's very clear that winter weather is affecting the Small Business Health Index. In fact, the Small Business Health Index in the South and the West is actually up from where it was last month. So all of the erosion is due to what's happening in the Midwest and the Northeast, which of course all of us living here know that we've suffered through a very, very difficult winter. So when we adjust for that, it takes some of the concern out of our leading index that the U.S. economy may be struggling a bit. Having said that, we have to pay attention as we go into the spring and hopefully warmer weather arrives to whether or not small business health improves. If it does, it'll confirm for us the U.S. economy is poised to grow at least 3% this year and perhaps a little bit stronger. Our second measure, payroll employment, also gets impacted by weather. Having said that, we're anticipating 146,000 payroll jobs being added for the month of February, which will be an improvement over the last couple of months and confirm for us once again that the U.S. economy is still growing despite what we're seeing in some of the top line results. Importantly for us, we're starting to see some sectors like manufacturing add jobs. As the recovery and the expansion becomes more virtuous across multiple sectors, we should see additional payroll employment gains. In fact, right now we're projecting over 200,000 payroll jobs a month starting in the second quarter when all of this winter weather hopefully goes away and we can start focusing on daffodils and crocus. So once again, the sunshine comes out. And with that, employment gain should go right along with it. And then our third measure on the U.S. economy, our most comprehensive measure, our financial health indicator, or what we call our economic health index. We're continuing to see record levels of improvement in this index. In fact, the index in the month of February is up almost 6% versus a year ago. And as we look at the index, what is important for us is a number of things are happening behind the top line story. One is that small businesses now are above the 50% threshold, which shows improvement versus deterioration. And that's an important indicator for us because small businesses were hit broadside in this downturn, and the fact that they're improving their balance sheet, their productivity, their competitiveness is critically important for this recovery and the expansion in the back end of this year as well as the year ahead. In addition, we're seeing some regions that have lagged the economic cycle, namely the Midwest, outperform the national average. So as we're starting to pull back from a top-line standpoint, we're finding greater and greater upside and greater hope for us that the U.S. recovery is expanding to other parts, other verticals, and other geographies. So if you bring this all together, while we're going to pay attention to what's happening in our leading index, small business health, when we put all the other pieces of the puzzle together, we feel very confident that the U.S. is poised to grow close to 3% this year. And in fact, it wouldn't surprise us once the winter weather abates that the U.S. economy grows above 3%, which would be welcome relief after 5 years of subpar economic growth. I encourage you to join us each and every month as we give you an update. And in fact, in the month of March, it's going to be a critically important month as we share those results in early April to get a reading on whether or not the winter weather has loosened its grip, especially on small businesses. Thank you for joining us.